You are staring into the heavy silence, agonizing over what you did wrong to make someone vanish into thin air. But that suffocating quiet is not a reflection of your worth. It is simply the echoing sound of their cowardice. If you are ready to unfold the heavy layers of your mind and find peace in the quiet, I invite you to subscribe to the Psyche Unfolding channel. There is a unique kind of agony in sudden absence. It is not the clean cut of a proper goodbye, where you can watch the person walk away down the road and slowly disappear over the horizon. No, this is something entirely different. This is walking into a room that was full of warmth just moments ago, only to find the windows blown open, the fire suddenly cold, and the person you trusted gone without a trace. Your stomach drops. The silence rings in your ears like a high-pitched siren. You are left standing in the sudden draft, clutching a conversation that was cut right in the middle. The human mind is a meaning-making machine. When we are faced with an abrupt end, our brain panics like a bird trapped in a dark room. You throw yourself against the walls, searching for the reason. You replay every word you ever spoke to them. You dissect every glance, every shared silence, every promise they handed to you. You gather these fragments like a detective at a crime scene, desperately trying to find the exact moment you ruined everything. You convince yourself that you were too much, or perhaps not enough. You decide that your love was too heavy, your expectations too high, your presence too demanding. You take the entire weight of their disappearance and place it squarely onto your own shoulders. It is a crushing burden. You carry this invisible stone around with you, and it exhausts you. You wake up in the dead of night, breathless, your chest tight with a phantom pain. It is the ache of a severed connection that was never allowed to heal properly. You experience a grief that has no grave to visit. When someone dies, society gives us rituals to process the loss. We wear dark clothes, we gather with friends, we speak of the memories, and we slowly learn to let go. But when someone simply evaporates by choice, there is no ritual. There is only a lingering, poisonous hope. The silence they left behind becomes a thick, suffocating fog that creeps into every corner of your life. You wait for a word that will never arrive. You stand by the door of your own life, hesitant to step outside, just in case they decide to return and explain themselves. The cruelest part of this vanishing act is that it turns you into a ghost. You begin to haunt your own memories. You wander through the echoes of what used to be, wondering if any of it was real. If it was real, how could they leave it behind so easily? How could someone look at the bond you built together and decide it was worth nothing more than a sudden, brutal silence? Let me sit with you in this heavy fog for a moment. I know how much it hurts. I know the shame that burns in your cheeks when you realize you are still waiting for someone who threw you away. But I need you to listen to me very carefully, because what I am about to tell you is the key to unlocking the heavy door of this prison. Their disappearance has absolutely nothing to do with you. It is not a measurement of your value. It is a profound, glaring reflection of their own internal emptiness. People who vanish into thin air do not leave because you are flawed. They leave because they are terrified. I have watched this behavioral pattern unfold countless times, and the root is always the same. It is an absolute failure of courage. True intimacy, genuine human connection, requires us to be vulnerable. It demands that we look another person in the eye and speak the truth, even when the truth is uncomfortable. It requires a spine. When the time comes to face the discomfort of ending things, the coward panics. They look at the responsibility of a difficult conversation, and they shrink. Instead of standing tall and honoring the bond you shared, they slip out the back door under the cover of darkness. They choose the void because the void asks nothing of them. It is much easier to be a shadow than to be a real, flawed human being, looking into the eyes of someone they have disappointed. They live in a perpetual state of emotional childhood. They wear the costumes of adults, but underneath, they are terrified children hiding from the storm of genuine connection. They want the warmth of the fire, but they absolutely refuse to chop the wood. Think of a ship abandoning its heavy iron anchor in the middle of a raging storm because the crew is too weak to pull it up. The anchor did nothing wrong. It was doing exactly what it was designed to do, providing stability, depth, and safety. The failure belongs entirely to the sailors who fled in panic. The person who vanished on you could not handle the depth of the waters you were navigating together. They lacked the emotional vocabulary to articulate their feelings, and they lacked the basic human decency to grant you a respectful ending. They ran from the reflection of their own inadequacy. Every time they looked at you, they saw what they could not be. They saw a person capable of deep, unwavering presence. That kind of presence is terrifying to a hollow soul. By disappearing, they foolishly believe they have erased the problem. But all they have done is carry their cowardice to the next destination. They are condemned to repeat this cycle, running from room to room, leaving a trail of unfinished sentences and broken trust behind them. Their life becomes a shallow pond, incapable of holding anything profound. You, on the other hand, are left with the pain, but you are also left with your integrity. You did not run. You stood your ground. You loved openly, and you offered your authentic self. Every tear you shed over their silence was a testament to your own beautiful humanity. The fact that they dropped the precious gift you handed them does not make the gift worthless. It just means since their hands were too fragile, too unpracticed, to hold something of such immense value. As we walk out of this dark fog together, consider subscribing to the Psyche Unfolding channel, so we can continue to heal these invisible wounds and walk toward the light. Now let us take a deep breath and look at the path ahead. You must stop waiting for closure. Closure is a beautiful myth we tell ourselves. We believe that if the other person just gives us the right explanation, the pain will suddenly evaporate into thin air. We think we need their final words to tie a neat bow around the painful experience. But the brutal truth is that their words would not heal you. But finally standing still, even if they stood before you right now and offered 100 reasons for their retreat, it would not change the fundamental fact that they chose to abandon you when things became real. True closure is not something someone else hands to you on a silver platter. It is something you build for yourself, brick by brick, inside your own mind. It is a quiet decision made in the deepest part of your soul. You decide to let go of the burning rope. You have been holding on so tightly, pulling against a ghost, and the friction is tearing your hands apart. Open your hands. Let the rough rope fall to the ground. Watch it slip away into the shadows. You do not need their permission to move forward. You do not need their fragile apology to know that you deserve infinitely better. The silence they left behind is no longer a punishment. It is a clearing in the dense woods. It is an empty, fertile space where new, beautiful things can finally take root and grow. Imagine your mind as a grand, sunlit room. For a very long time, the center of that beautiful room was occupied by a massive, ugly statue of their disappearance. You spent all your waking hours walking around it, staring at it, dusting it, letting its dark shadow block the sunlight. Today you are tearing that statue down. You are taking a heavy hammer to the stone of your own guilt. You are sweeping the broken pieces out the front door and washing the dust away. Look at how much space you have now. Look at how the golden light pours in through the tall windows, warming the wooden floor beneath your feet. You are reclaiming your territory. The house is yours again. You are taking your sacred power back from someone who never deserved to hold it in the first place. You are no longer a victim waiting in the shadows of someone else's unfinished business. They are merely a minor character in the epic novel of your life, a chapter you have already finished reading. You are a survivor who has walked barefoot through the fire of abandonment and emerged with a much deeper understanding of your own resilience. Your capacity to feel this deeply, to mourn, to love, is your greatest superpower. Do not let their emotional poverty make you hard. Do not let their cowardice convince you to build thick walls around your own heart. The world needs your warmth. The world is desperate for people who are brave enough to stay, brave enough to speak the uncomfortable truth, and brave enough to love without an escape route planned in advance. You will trust again. You will sit across from someone who looks at you with steady, calm eyes, someone who does not flinch when the conversation turns difficult. You will find a love that is rooted deeply in the earth, a connection that does not evaporate at the first sign of friction. You have carried their heavy, dirty backpack for kilometers upon kilometers, dragging it up steep hills and through dark valleys. It was filled with their fears, their insecurities, their inability to be an adult. It was never yours to carry. Feel the heavy canvas straps loosening right now. Feel the brutal weight slipping from your tired shoulders. It drops to the dirt with a quiet thud, and you step away from it. You stand up a little straighter. You roll your shoulders back, feeling the sudden, glorious lightness of your own physical being. You take a slow, deep breath of clean, crisp air. The storm has entirely passed. The fog has dissolved into the morning dew. The ghost has faded into absolute nothingness. You are standing here. You are completely whole, and you are stepping forward into a bright, deeply peaceful morning. You are entirely free.